who it says was trying to justify himself by asking a question and then asking a deeper question. So what came up often when people were talking to Jesus is, how do I get to heaven? I want in. I want the bonus package. How do I get God's bonus package? And the answer for us, again, thankfully, on this side of heaven is Jesus. He is the way. Jesus is the truth. Jesus is the life. We don't have to wonder. We don't have to try to decode thousands of years of prophets and stories and law. We have the way and the truth and the light right before us. It's Jesus. But I think in the post-resurrection era, we should ask a different question. Not just how do I get into heaven, but how do I live as an agent of the kingdom as I'm walking towards heaven? It's a deeper question. I know the way. What do I do to walk in that way? That's a much better question for us who are walking in the shadow of the cross. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me kind of back us up a little bit. I asked you, where were you as you think about this story, even in the reading just now, where did you find yourself? Were you the robbers? Were you the victim? Priest, Levi, bystander? Where did you find yourself in the story? Now, the name of the story often is called the Good Samaritan, right? And so it says that we are looking for one who would be kind in this scenario. And the end of the point, the main point was, be a good neighbor to those around you. Now, neighbor is just exactly what you think it means. It literally means one who is near me. One who is near me. Go and be like the Good Samaritan to those who are near you. That's clearly the major point of the story. But I want you to see that Jesus weaves something pretty incredible into this story, right? The question was, how do I get to heaven? And Jesus ends up talking about neighbors. Now, the lawyer prompted it, right? Because he knew, I know if I want to get to heaven, I got to be connected to God. All my heart, soul, mind, body, spirit. It's all me and Jesus. But the cross goes this way and that way. It's not just horizontal. He's demanding that we are aware of the vertical aspect of following Jesus Christ. As a matter of fact, it gets very clear in the Bible. 1 John 4:20 says, anyone who says they love God and yet hate their brother is a liar. A liar? A liar. You cannot love God who you haven't seen and not love your brother who you see every day. Powerful conviction. Jesus says my upward flow is cut off if none of that love goes sideways to the people who are in my life, in my community, brokenness in this world. So who are you? Let's look at the perspective of the victim for just a second. He had a hard day. He got robbed, got beaten almost to death, had all of his possessions taken, and left abandoned to die on the side of the road. Part of the brilliance in this is that Jesus turns this theological salvation conversation into a real physical life and death circumstance. That's because it's easier for us to grasp the spiritual if we can get grounded in the physical. Because it's the same reality. We're talking about death. Spiritual, physical, emotional. Death is death. And so he's trying to make it understand how clear it is, how important it is for us to be connected to God. So if you're the person who is on the side of the road, who is your neighbor? Anybody that shows up. There's no classism, racism, any ism for anybody who's lying on the edge of death on the side of the road. Anybody who shows up in your circle is your new best friend. I am open to neighbors of all stripes and sizes. I'm desperate. I'm broken. I'm hurting. I feel abandoned. feel alone. People who I thought would be there for me have left me behind and turned away. I don't even know if God loves me anymore at this point. I am at the end of my rope. Maybe you're a non-believer. Maybe you're not sure about this whole Jesus thing this morning. Maybe you've been hurt by the church and those who said they love God and should be loving you. Maybe you've been walking with God for a long time and that fire that you remember used to be there just doesn't seem to be burning the same way it used to because of the slings and arrows that you've taken on your journey. Well, what do we learn from this parable? Religion won't save you. The priest came by. The pastor came by. And he saw you lying on the side of the road. Not that pastor. I mean Pastor Joe. Not Pastor Dan. I'm speaking metaphorically here. The religious institution, the religiosities, my profound proclamations, my quoting of scriptures, my elevated position of leadership in the ecclesiastical body won't save you when you're broken. That's the priest. Bystanders, well-wishers, inquisitors, and fake friends won't save you. The Levite, it appears if you look at the story, was walking down the road. Well, let me back up. The priest was walking down the road, saw somebody on the side of the road, and stepped to the far other side of the road to make sure I got as far away from that person over there as I possibly could. The reading kind of implies that the Levite came up and looked a little closer. Yep, you're hurting. And then did the same thing the priest did. So what we have here is the problem of proximity. See, the neighbor is the one who was close to me, and these first two on their journey got as far away from the pain and the suffering as they possibly could in that moment. They literally went to the other side of the road to get as far away from the suffering as they possibly could. And can I tell you, brothers and sisters, we have that same problem in our own mindset today. It's not that we don't see it. We try not to see it. It's not that we're not aware of it, but we try to position ourselves as far away from the suffering as we possibly can because we don't want to get caught up in it. The priest in that day was probably thinking, if I get near that, I'm going to become unclean. I won't be able to go to church. I won't be able to do my religious duties because I've been near something that was unclean. What you miss is that God cares about the hurt and the lost and the brokenhearted and the marginalized and those that are dying on the side of the road. That's exactly where Jesus was hanging out. So what we do is that we have our innate desire to stay away from pain and suffering, and that ironically moves us as far away from Jesus as we can possibly be. That's the problem of our desire not to have proximity to pain and suffering. And I think in our American culture, it's even worse, right? We're kind of addicted to comfort. I just like to be comfortable. I got a rental car, and they were out of cars when I got there. So she said, well, only thing I can do is upgrade you. Oh, absolutely not. I'm suffering for the Lord. I want the most uncomfortable. You're crazy? Absolutely. Sign me up. Give me the upgrades. I love to. I'm in there playing with the screen and pushing buttons. I've never been in this car. This is awesome because I love comfort. And if I'm honest about my life, I do it every single day. I look for ways to be as comfortable and undisturbed. And if I'm going somewhere, I don't want anything to interrupt me. And I've got my plan and my program. But you know what? Most of Jesus' miracles happened during an interruption. He was going to do something else, and a circumstance popped up, and the kingdom was manifested because he wasn't too busy with his program to respond to the opportunity for God's power to flow through him in that moment. we got to get rid of our addiction to comfort and be willing to step in, lean in, do more than just investigate somebody else's pain, but do what the Good Samaritan did. It said the Good Samaritan saw him just like everybody else. Saw him, and there's a decision point. Will I get close or will I go away? And the Good Samaritan made the only choice of the three. He went into the pain. Now, this is a little personal. I hope you guys like me. This is the punky part of this sermon right here. I'm trying to build some rapport to get to this part. I hope you're with me still. It's interesting. I was in Jerusalem a few years ago, and so this isn't metaphorical, right? Jerusalem is up on this hill, and Jericho is down at the bottom of the hill. And it's this desert, hot, dusty, dangerous road. It was known as like one of the most dangerous roads in the region. You literally got robbed often going down that hill down to Jericho. And so as Jesus is telling the story, people would have definitely realized, as I leave the hill of Jerusalem and I go down back into the low country, it can be dangerous and messy down there. You ready? What's the name of this church? Oh my, that's a good one right there. As you drive off this hill this afternoon and go back down into the low country where it's messy down there, go back out into the East Bay, go back out into the nether regions, look around this global world where America is sitting up on the top of this hill and we look at all the suffering around us. What do you see? And what's your proximity to the pain? I call this section Neighborhood Watch. Police departments will tell you one of the most effective tools in their tool belt is neighborhood watches. Why? Because the police can't be everywhere all the time. They can't protect everyone and every citizen all the time. But when neighbors are working in conjunction to make sure that their neighborhood is safe, that they're looking out for each other, that they're keeping an eye, that they're aware when something's wrong or somebody's missing, that's one of the most effective tools in law enforcement's tool belts. But how does that work? Well, you don't just start a neighborhood watch and it works great. What you got to do is you got to know who your neighbors are. I got to know that Mrs. Smith, she gets home from her medical treatment at 2:00, and then she goes and she sits in the window, and she's going to be there from 2:30 to 4. And then I know her, so when I don't see her in the window, I know something's going on with Mrs. Smith. I know where the kids are. I know what school. I just know what the lives is happening in the people in my neighborhood. So what the difference is between a neighborhood and a neighborhood that has an effective watch program is relationships. It's the people that we invest in, the difference in our communities. And our response as believers is the relationships that we have. I was on the website and I saw that Hillside has a long, wonderful tradition of being neighborly. I was clicking around and I saw the CJM ministries. How does this body of believers love its neighbors? I saw initiatives about anti-trafficking, vulnerable children, prison ministry, homeless and marginalized, all kinds of wonderful initiatives that have been going and impacting and transforming lives of the hurting and the least of these for generations. But here's what I want you to understand. I don't know the story. I don't know the details, but I guarantee you every one of those ministries started from a burden from God for people in need through a relationship that somebody had that they cared about somebody that was hurting. It's not the building. It's not the official ministry lead. It's somebody who has a heart for their neighbor and said, God, use me to heal this brokenness in the world. And so we're at this interesting moment in the life of Hillside as Pastor Dan is relatively new, as we're coming hopefully out of a post-COVID world. In this moment, when you leave this hill, what do you see? What's the pain that you see? What has God gifted and burdened and planted in this body of believers that transformation can flow from this mountain down to the valleys of Jericho, down to the valleys of Oakland, down to the valleys of Los Angeles, down to the valleys of places around the globe that we can't even name. What will God do with the burden that he gave you for the pain in this world? The important thing to realize is that it costs to be a neighbor. I told you that religion won't save you, that passers-by and friends won't save you, that getting likes on your social media. You know, quick side road, I love that they call these things filters now, right? You know, the filters make you look good. They kind of gloss you up and clean you up. I don't know why they don't just call them what they really are. They're not filters, they're masks. They're masks that we put on to hide the brokenness that we feel, the desperation, the pain, the lack of self-worth. And if we can tear all that stuff away and really develop relationships, we see that we have the opportunity not to give religious platitudes, not to give a like button because we're kind of interested but not really, but to really share the love of Christ, and that's what saves. The Good Samaritan, it doesn't matter what he did, it mattered that he did it out of a flow of love. And I say, if we love people, then we are God. We are agents of the living God in this world. Love is what saves, because from love flows compassion and mercy and grace and sacrifice. You can't love anybody without it costing you something. And that's the real problem. That's the problem, the choice that the priest and the Levite had. Is this person worth the cost of my time and investment? And suppose they want more than I got. You got any relatives that just want more than you want to give? Holidays coming up. You're going to see them sitting right at that table, and you're praying for that meal to be over as fast as possible before they start asking you for stuff. Amen. It costs to love. Do you see yourself as the Samaritan? Willing to be interrupted on your journey because someone you see that's hurting would be blessed by you. It's interesting that one of the commentaries I was looking at said there's a nuance in the word that the other two people were on the road and the Samaritan was journeying. Like he was literally on that road for the purpose of finding people that he could help. I thought that was interesting. Do I go out searching for opportunities to have God's eyes and let his love flow through me? Not so busy with my plans that I'm actually on a mission from God, waiting to see what he unveils for me. It's a vulnerable place to be in because you don't know what's going to be asked of you. You don't know what the sacrifices are going to be. And I want to make it clear, I'm not here to try to guilt you. You know, we all have those opportunities, right? Person standing at the intersection with the sign up every day. We probably saw 3 here, or you'll see some on the way home. There's always more need in this world than we can possibly deal with. So I'm not telling you how to respond. What I'm really saying is God has given you a burden to which you should respond. There should be some tension, an ongoing tension within us that in this moment, God, are you calling me to respond? I don't care what you do. I just want you to ask the question. I just want you to pause long enough to be sensitive to the nudging of the Spirit to say, in this moment, God would have me to do this. Sometimes I give him money, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I buy him lunch and sit down and have a conversation. Sometimes I keep driving. I'll find out how often I was right when I get to heaven. I don't know if I'm doing it right. I don't know. I know I'm not always responding. But my point is, I'm trying to be sensitive enough to the Spirit to say, God, can you use me here? I'm going to wrap up. I asked you who you are in this story. I'm going to tell you who I am. I'm the innkeeper. Innkeeper doesn't get much press. We don't talk about the innkeeper much. A lot of people think I'm the Good Samaritan. Not me, I mean we. We see ourselves as the Good Samaritan. Oh, God wants me to see my neighbor and patch him up and heal him and put him on my donkey and take him somewhere safe. And I'm supposed to be the Good Samaritan. I think Jesus is the Good Samaritan. I think Jesus is the one who initiates healing and restoration to broken people hurting on the side of the road. I think that's Jesus. So that's good news. I don't have to be the Good Samaritan. The bad news is I think I'm the innkeeper, which means I'm where Jesus drops broken people off at. I didn't go looking for him. He brought them right to my house and said, so I got them started. Now you take care of them until I get back. Well, when you coming back? Don't worry, I'm going to cover you when I get back. But can I just give them something one time and just send? No. Walk with them. Care for them. Get to know them. I've started the journey of healing, and then I gave them to you to walk with them until I return. My God. That seems like the shorter end of the stick, doesn't it? But Jesus says, you saw the miracles I did? You're going to do even greater. I'm going to bring them right to you. I'm going to bring the broken right to your doorstep. I'm going to get them started. I'm going to help them see that they're worth something. I'm going to start the healing process, and I'm going to give you what you need to continue the work that I started. And by the way, don't worry about your stuff. Don't worry if you're going to run out. Don't worry if you're going to make it, because I will take care of all of your needs when I return. It's an invitation from the Father to be agents of the kingdom if we will be willing to see the hurt in the world, to identify the burdens that God has placed in my heart, to step into somebody else's pain and be faithful with walking with them until the Lord tells me different. You do that, and you will have the power of the living God flowing in you, not for you, but through you, and the world will be blessed by your presence. Amen? Let's pray. Father, would you forgive us when the cares of this world and the burdens of this life and the circumstances of living in a fallen and hurting world has us so overcome and so insecure, so afraid that we stop letting the love that we received from you flow through us. In this moment, God, we ask that you help us to give you the best of our heart, mind, body, soul, time, treasure, resources. Give us your eyes and your ears and your heart, that we may love you more by loving those you send us like you do. My prayer is for Hillside Church, not the building, not the ministries, but the people, to be innkeepers of the people that you send their way, that you may be glorified by the love and the mercy and the faithfulness that flows from their dedication to you. Make them a light on a hill that draws all to you, not for our grace, not for our glory, but for your glory. And may you be praised in our lives. We pray these things, trusting in the power of the Holy Spirit. And all God's children said amen.